Okay. Well, first, thanks for coming. As you're aware, we are concurrently working 3 death investigations. They're all at different stages. However, today we'd like to give a general overview of the information that we can, as well as some specific information for each of the cases. What we're hoping is to gain assistance from the community out of some of the information that we're going to give you. And I think the first question on everyone's mind is, are they related in any way? Evidence obtained so far indicates that there is no relationship between the 3 cases. You know, certainly they are each critically important. Our condolences go out to each of the families. And we would like to say that we have identified persons of interest in 2 of the 3 cases so far. What we'd like to do today is provide you some specific information in addition by case, give you an opportunity to ask questions. We'd also like to use this as a starting point to continue to provide you ongoing information, and that information will either come through myself or Captain Roberts relative to each of the cases. So we'll begin with today. This morning at 6:44 a.m., we responded to 115 Flame Vine Drive on a report of a deceased person. Upon arrival, we found Conchetta Bedell, age 44, who lives at that address, deceased. Neighbors have told detectives that earlier in the morning about 1:30, they heard gunshots in the area. And detectives believe that they may be related to this case. Our investigation so far has identified that Bedell had an active injunction for protection order, and it was against our first person of interest, and his name is Lawrence Joseph McDonald, age 44. We've got a picture we'll put up on the screen for you, and we'll also provide you pictures. Because this is the first request that we're going to make of the public, is to look at this photograph and help us find the location of this subject so that we may speak with him. His last known address is in Lee County. You can call our investigative offices at 252-9300, or you can always call Crime Stoppers at 780-8477.
The PO office will get you guys a better JPEG of that, so you don't have to worry about filming in here.
Is that a mugshot or a driver's license?
It's a picture of Mr. McDonald.
Number 2, in the case of Ernest Torres, whose body was discovered on August 4th, detectives have identified a person of interest, and that person of interest is concurrently in jail on other charges. We're going to withhold his name based on investigative need at this point, and we'll provide that as quickly as we're able to. In the 3rd case of Joseph Warren Godcharles, we have fully processed the scene. We are evaluating evidence and waiting for completed requests for lab work before we can assess that individual evidence. But there again, we are also looking for the community's help in this case. Detectives believe that the person involved was known to Mr. Godcharles. So we ask for help there. That gives a general overview of where we are. We're making progress on each of the cases at varying stages. We'd like to keep you informed as we move along. And I've got Captain Roberts here if you have some specific questions that we are able to answer. Some will ask your indulgence so that we may have a better chance at successful prosecution.
The injunction for protection against Lawrence McDonald, do you know the nature of that? Is he an ex-boyfriend, or can you speak to?
Yes, it was
You could step up to the microphone too. Thank you.
they, according to our reports, had lived together for approximately a month in the year of 2011 as boyfriend and girlfriend, and the injunction itself is for domestic violence.
Is it like a no contact order or what?
It's a permanent injunction, which means, yes, no contact, no phone calls, no anything.
Does she live at this home, or was she in the process of moving out?
She lived at the residence where, on Flamevine, where we responded to this morning.
And that was the home that she at one point shared with Lawrence? Like they
No,
lived together?
no, the
No.
injunction and that information, or the previous domestic history actually occurred at a residence right behind the office here in Lakewood Country Club.
We heard that the victim's son, maybe like 15, was the person who discovered her. Do you know who called 911 or who discovered her body?
Someone from the home called 911 this morning.
Was she shot to death?
That, you know, as the sheriff mentioned in his opening, there were some gunshots heard by neighbors around 1:30 in the morning, and it would appear that that probably, you know, was the cause of her death at this point. But again, everything's still preliminary.
Did anyone report those gunshots being fired?
No one reported those gunshots
So you guys didn't know anything until you got that call in the morning?
at
Yes.
6:44 a.m.
Is that pretty concerning?
Yeah, you know, that's always concerning that we encourage our residents, if they hear something or see something that's out of place, that they contact us. We are more than interested to come and investigate cases. So we would just continue to encourage our residents to call us.
And
Typically goes, if I can continue to answer, the feeling on people's parts that they don't want to interject themselves in someone else's business, even though it's gunshots in a residential neighborhood, but also that they don't want to bother the sheriff's office to respond to something that may be frivolous. And we would just tell all of them, call. That's what the deputies are out there for. Give us a call. We'd much rather respond and check something out to find nothing than not be called on it at all.
And for God Charles, do we know if he was shot, stabbed? I know a weapon was recovered, but nothing was released on that.
God Charles is still under active investigation. He was not shot.
She was found on the back porch. Was she trying to escape at the time?
It's too early to even speculate on that.
And was anyone else home?
Her mother and her oldest son were home.
They were asleep or something?
I believe so.
Do you guys think that whoever did this came from the outside, like perhaps the backyard?
From outside the home, sure.
Has anybody come forward and said they saw somebody out there at that time, like a gentleman maybe?
Again, it's, understand, the one on Flamevine this morning is still very early in the investigation, so I just simply can't answer that yet.
Yeah, we're continuing to do neighborhood canvasses of the whole area to determine if someone saw anything or heard anything else than has already been reported.
You had said that God Charles wasn't shot, so are we fair to say that he was stabbed, or?
He wasn't shot.
What weapon was recovered?
There was a weapon recovered in the house, yes.
What kind?
And it wasn't a gun.
Have you determined a motive or a possible motive in that case?
In Mr. God Charles' murder, no, we have not. He, from most of the people we talked to, was a pillar of the community, more or less. Did a lot for other people, was well liked. So we obviously, anybody that knew him that we haven't talked to, we'd certainly like to hear from.
Was there forced entry into that home? We had heard that maybe the door was pried open. Is that true?
And that's part of the statement the sheriff made about us thinking that he was new, but no, there was no forced entry into the home, which is of interest.
That also raises a good question relative to any observances made there by the neighborhood. We'd like to know anyone that was in the area, even if they are known or unknown to the residents, because it may very well be someone who was known to the deceased.
That was a gated community. Have you obtained like surveillance videos from people going in and out?
We've obtained every bit of video from any camera anywhere near there. Yes, we have.
And was anything taken from that home?
I'm not going to discuss that at this point, so thank you.
All right.
Your name, detective, just spelling,
Chris, C-H-R-I-S, and last name Roberts, R-O-B-E-R-T-S.
and who's
And
detective? Your
it's Captain,
captain.
Special Investigations.
Thank you.
And we'll keep you up to, you can certainly ask questions, but we'll keep you up as much as we can, as regularly as we can.